Yeah. Hi guys, good morning. Online students, am I audible?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Very good morning. Perfect. Guys, in the last session, we discussed about how to implement edit functionality and update functionality in the project. And we have seen what is hard delete as well as soft delete. So edit and update. Whatever the record which is already available, we want to edit the existing record and we should be able to update the record. When you are trying to edit the record, right? When user click on edit functionality, we need to retrieve the existing record and we need to display to the user. This is our index page. Here records available. When I click on edit, based on this book ID, we are going to retrieve the record. So if you see, when I click on edit, book ID going to the server as a query parameter. So we discussed about query parameters in the web application. So can you tell me what is query parameters in the web application? What is query parameter in the web application, guys? To send the data, to send data from client to server in URL. So when you are performing some operation to send the data from client to server in the URL, we will use query parameter. Represents data. These query parameters represents data in key value format. Key and value will be available. Query parameters always will present at the end of the URL. Query parameters will present at the end of the URL. You can't write the query parameters in the middle of the URL. Always our query parameters will be available at the end of the URL. Query parameters will start with a question mark. Query parameters will start with a question mark symbol. So that is start point of our query parameter. In the URL, this question mark will represent the start point of our query parameter. If you see here in the YouTube also, as I told you, if you play one video, what it is happening, what it is doing here, question mark, V is equal to video ID. So here V is a key and this is the ID. It is available at the end of the URL. It is represented by question mark, right? So query parameters are used to send data from client to server in the URL. It represents data in the key value format. They will present only at the end of the URL. Query parameters will start with a question mark and separated by and symbol. In the single URL, you can pass multiple query parameters also. For example, the adin/course question mark name is equal to SBMS and trainer is equal to some value. So like this, you can send multiple query parameters also to the server in the URL. So query parameters will represent data in the form of key and value. They will start with a question mark. They will separate by and operator. Okay. Now, when the server is sending query parameters, how to read the query parameters in the controller? To read query parameters from the URL, to read query parameters from URL, we are using one annotation. What is that annotation, guys? At the rate request param annotation. In the Spring controller, if you want to get the data from the query parameters, we need to use the annotation called request param annotation. Perfect. So now similarly, to send the data from UI to controller, we have here another option called path variables. These are also called as path parameters. Path parameters also used to send the data to the server in the URL. Path parameters. What is the purpose of that? This it is used path variable. It is used to send data from UI to controller. To send the data from UI to controller, we can go for path variable. What is the purpose of query parameters? To send the data to controller or server. To send data from UI to controller or UI to server. Both are used for same purpose. used to send the data from UI to server in the URL. Path parameters are path variables. Path parameters can present anywhere in the URL. Query parameters will present only at the end of the URL. Path variables can present anywhere in the URL. Path variables will be represented by using placeholders. Path parameters will be represented using placeholders. Nothing but, so in which position that variable is coming, you need to declare that. For example, in.ashokit slash course name, okay, slash trainer, then trainer name. Okay, so this is one path parameter, this is one path parameter. Query parameters will present only at the end of the URL, whereas path parameters can present anywhere in the URL. So in this URL, course is a part of URL. This is path parameter. Trainer is a normal URL. This is path parameter. So path parameters will be represented using placeholder. So path parameters will not have any key. Direct values will be available for the path parameters. To read path parameters, we will use @path variable annotation. Okay. To read query parameters, we will use request param annotation. To read path parameters, we will use path variable annotation. So when we are working with the application, we need to send the data from UI to controller and controller to UI. So now we are understanding how to send the data from UI to controller. One option, form request body available. When you want to send some sensitive data, you will go for request body. If your data is not sensitive, just text data if you want to send, like ID something, then you can go for either query parameter or you can go for path parameter. What is the difference between query parameters and path parameters? Both are used to send the data to server in the URL, but query parameter will represent the data in the key value format. Query parameters will present at the end of the URL. They are started with the question mark separated by AND operator. Now, how do we read the query parameters from the URL? By using request param. What about path variables? They are used to send the data from UI to server. They are present anywhere in the URL. Now, these path variables will be represented like a placeholder like this. To read path parameters, we will use path variable annotation. So let me create one more project. All of you completed this book application? All functionalities? Yes. Yeah, WebMVC app already we created, right? Controller is available. User controller, welcome controller is available. Let me create one new class, which is demo controller. I'm writing class demo controller. Let's write one method, public. What we are doing as of now, public model and view. Let me write one method, get message. Okay. So now here I'm writing the URL mapping @get mapping @get mapping slash demo @get mapping slash demo 1. So here I'm expecting some name as a input. I want to read this name from the query parameter. For that we can go for @request param of name. Okay, or @request param of name I am taking. Whatever the name we are getting, for that name I want to add a message hello. Okay, you give some name as a input. For that I will add the hello message. String message is equal to hello. Whatever the name that we are giving, I want to send that name as a response. Okay, next one, we need to set the data to the model object and we need to set the view name. How to set that data? Let's go for model and view. MAV is equal to new model and view. MAV dot add object key comma value. My key is message. Value is available, which is message text, something like this. Key is message, value is message text. MAV dot set view name. Some page name we need to pass here. Okay. What is the HTML that you want to return? When this method is executed, you need to set that view name. What are the views available already? There is a view called index.html view is available. Okay. So now inside the index.html, we are displaying multiple keys. Let me display this key also, message. Okay. So this message will be displayed. Let me return my page name as a index. Okay. So here what this method is expecting now, it is expecting a query parameter. Let's run this application, refresh, run as boot app. Good. Let's go to browser, localhost colon 8080 slash demo 1. So when I send the request to the demo 1, oh, it is not represented as a controller, guys. So I am not able to access this method because this is not a controller class. How to make it as a controller? By using @controller annotation. I'm making my Java class as a controller class. To represent the class as a controller, we are using @controller annotation. Otherwise, it cannot handle the request. Okay. In order to handle the requests, our class should become a controller class. To represent a class as a controller, we are using @controller demo 1. Demo controller, it is @controller get mapping slash demo 1, adding the object, setting the view name as index, request param. Okay. My URL I'm not able to access because it is having query parameter. How to send that query parameter? @name is equal to some Raju. I'm trying to send the request to that. Still it is not responding. Maybe port number is different. And context path also available. Remove this. Refresh. Run as boot app. Application is running with the port number 8080. Context path is empty. Good. Now let's go to this one. Name is equal to Raju. So are we able to get the message now? How I am sending the name to the server? How I am sending name to the server? I'm sending the name to the server by using query parameter. What is the meaning of query parameter? Query parameters are used to send the data from client to server in the URL. They represent data in the key value format. Query parameters will present at end of the URL. Query parameters will start with the question mark and separated by and, right. So to read the query parameters from the URL, we are using request param annotation. Next one, let me create one more method with the path parameter, or we can say path variable, right? Public, simple. I will just copy this method. I will copy this method. This is get message 1 and this is get message 2, demo 1 and demo 2. Now in this method also I want to read the name but not as a query parameter. I want to read the name as a path parameter, where that path parameter should come after the URL pattern. We need to represent. So if you are using query parameters, you no need to specify in the URL pattern, But if you are using path parameter, you need to represent in the URL pattern. This is called placeholder. When you are working with path parameters should be represented using placeholder in the URL pattern, so that server will understand in which location path parameter is available. For query parameter, it is not required. The reason, query parameter is having key and value. By using key, we can get the value. But when you go for path parameter, there is no key available. That is the reason we are using placeholder. Okay. Now here, let me change the message, something like this. Okay. So demo 1 is a path parameter. Demo 1 is a query parameter. Demo 2 is a path parameter. So I need to tell to dispatcher servlet, this name will come in the URL as a path parameter. To read that, we will use a annotation called @path variable. We will use one annotation called @path variable. Query parameter is available and path parameter is also available. Let's run this now. Look at the methods, URL patterns. First one is using query parameter, key value. To read that query parameter, we use request param. Second one is using path parameter, representing in the URL pattern. To read that path parameter, we are using annotation called path variable annotation. Path variable annotation. Okay, let's run this application. First one, query parameter, demo 1. Hello Raju, we are getting. Now let's go to demo 2. When I go for a demo 2, directly I will specify the name. Now we are able to get that. Good morning, John. You see here how we are sending the data. Key value pair. Here how we are sending the data. Direct value. So this URL is representing query parameter. This URL is representing path parameter. So when you are working with web application, you need to send the data from controller to UI, UI to controller. How we are sending the data from controller to UI? By using model and view object. Using model and view object, we are sending the data from controller to UI in the form of key value. How we are sending data from UI to controller? Query request parameter, path variable, request body is also available. Are you clear? Good. Next one, guys. As of now, we are writing our method with the model and view as a return type. What is our method return type as of now? Model and view is a return type. What is that model and view? What is that model and view? Model represents data in the form of key and value. Model represents data in the form of key and value. View represents logical view name. Here, this is one way to write the controller methods. This is one way to write the controller method. There is another approach also available to write the controller method. That approach is public. I'm taking string as a return type, message 3. Public string get message 3. I'm taking here, I will return index. Okay. Earlier, we are creating model and view object. For that, we are setting our object. For that, we are setting our view name. But in the latest style of programming in the WebMVC, you no need to take model and view as a return type. Your method can return string directly. Your method can return the string directly. This index is a view name. Then how do we send the data to this view? To send the data to the view, we are going to use model. We are going to use model concept. Okay. Public string get message 3. I'm taking model as a parameter for my method. Which model? Spring Framework UI model we are taking. Now, this method we are mapping to get request slash demo3 slash demo3. Any data you want to send to the UI model dot add attribute key comma value message. I'm going to say that hello, how are you? Something like this. So there are two ways to write our controller methods, guys. So this is also fine. This is also fine. Both are doing the same thing. But the difference here, we have taken model and view as a return type. Here we have taken string as a return type. When you take model and view as a return type, you need to set the data. You need to set the view name. But if you take string as a return type, you set the data to the model object. What is this model? Model is a interface. It is used to hold the model attributes. It is like a map concept, key and value. Here add attribute, key comma value. So which one is looking simple? This one is looking simple or this one is looking simple? This one is looking simple. Directly we are taking string as a return type. What we are returning in the string? What we are returning in the string? In the string, we are returning our index page. In the string, we are returning our index page. So whenever you send the request to this demo3 URL pattern, it will return index page with this model data. Now, this model data you can access on this index page. This model data you can access on the index page. Now, let us start our application. Application started. Demo 2 John, it is working. Demo 1 Raju is working. Now demo 3, directly I'm going for demo 3. Am I able to get that page? Yes, all three methods are working. Now earlier we have taken model and view as a return type. Now we are taking direct string as a return type. So when you take the string as a return type, that represents logical file, which page you want to load, that we are returning from the method. Then here we have model object. What is the purpose of this model object? To send the data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. To send the data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. Are you able to follow this? Yes, fine. Good. So we can write our controller methods in two ways, by returning model and view or by returning string. Next one, I want to, as of now, our controller methods are returning view pages. Whenever you send a request, then the controller is sending response with the view page. But sometimes in my project, when I send a request, I don't want to send the view page. I want to get the response directly. Are you able to follow me? Sometimes when I send a request, I want to load the web page. Sometimes I don't want to load the web page. When I send a request, direct response should come. The scenario is like this. Yeah. So when I go to this page, when I click on mock interviews, what happened, guys? Our web page is loaded. There, here, can you see any fees is displaying here? Anything displaying here? No. Let me select experience. When I select experience, fees is coming or not? When I change the experience, fees is changing or not? So here, when I change the drop down value, my below drop down value is populated. So page is reloading, page is not reloading, page is reloading or page is not reloading? Page is not reloading. This is called asynchronous call. Whenever I click on online training, page is reloading. That means a request is going to my controller. My controller method is loading the page that is already we have developed. When I send a request to localhost colon 8080 slash demo 3, then what is happening here? Page is reloading or page is not reloading? Page is reloading. But if you go to mock interviews here, page loading or page not loading? When I select the experience, only data is changed. Page is only data is modified, page is not reloaded. So this is asynchronous call. So in our controller, our methods, some methods will return view page as a response. Some methods will not return the view page. Directly they will return data as a response. Are you able to follow me? So whenever you are writing a methods in the controller, some methods will return view page as a response. Some methods will return direct response to the client. So example, when I click on mock interviews option, web page is loaded. When I click on mock interviews option, web page is loaded. But when I select the experience, only data is loaded. So here we need to develop the controller methods based on the requirement. Sometimes methods will return view page as a response. Sometimes method will return direct response. View page as a response or direct response will be written from the methods. For this, how do we write the logic? Public string get message 4. Public string get message 4. I will write direct string message is equal to hi, how are you? Or else welcome to Ashok IT. Direct. I want to, when user send a request for my method, I want to send this message directly as a response. Okay. Let me map it to a get request at the rate get mapping slash demo 4. What is the difference between demo 3 method and demo 4 method, guys? You observe. What is the difference between demo 3 and demo 4? You check it. What is the difference between demo 3 method and demo 4 method? What it is returning? Index. What is our index? Index is a page, HTML page or JSP page, whatever it is. It is a HTML page. It is returning view page. What about the demo 4? What about the demo 4? It is returning a direct message. Okay. So some methods will return view page as a response. Some methods will return direct response. When your controller method is returning a direct response, you need to specify that by using @response body. What is the annotation? @response body. If you don't specify @response body, Spring Dispatcher Servlet will think this is also a view name. It will try to identify the page with this name. But this is a view name or this is a direct message. It is a direct message. When you are returning a direct message from the controller method, you need to write one annotation called @response body. @response body. Are you able to follow this? Good. Now let's stop this application and start it. Run as boot application. Demo 3, demo 4. Good. Go to browser. Make a URL request. Demo 3. In the demo 3, from where we are getting the response? Demo 3. Demo 3 coming from the index page. Index page written by the controller. Because I have not given any response body. Then it is returning the index. Dispatcher servlet identifying the page with this name, HTML page with this name. It is available. That page is loaded. Now let's go for demo 4. When I send the request to demo 4, what is happening now? View page is loading or direct response is coming. When your controller method is having a response body, dispatcher servlet will not check for the view. Dispatcher servlet will directly return the response to the client. For example, if I write this annotation here, then what will happen? What is the response we are going to get in the browser? Come on. What response will come in the browser for this method now? This will come as a response. It will show only index message. This model will not be available. So whenever you are writing the controller method, if you are returning a string, okay, by default, if you are returning a string, it will be considered as a view page. This view page will be loaded in the browser. If you write @response body, then similar here I'm writing the return string value. Okay, here I'm returning index, here I'm returning a message. Now whenever I start my application, when I send the request to demo 3, index page is loading. When I send the request to demo 4, direct message is coming. How the dispatcher servlet able to understand for which method view page should be loaded, for which method direct response should be loaded? Based on response body annotation. Now my question is, if I add response body annotation to this method, what will come in the browser? Just we will get the message as a index. Why we will get as a index? This is a response body. Whatever our method is returning, that will display in the browser directly. Let's try this. Earlier, when this annotation not available, index page is loaded. Index.html. Let me show you the proof. This is index page. This is index page. Okay, clear that. Run this. Application started. Now go here, demo 3. What is coming as a response? Index page is coming or index message is coming? Why index message is coming? Why not index page is coming? @response body. What is the meaning of @response body annotation? What is the meaning of @response body annotation? When you want to send direct response to the client, if your controller want to send direct response to the client, then we are going to use @response body annotation. If you want to send UI page as a response, then you should not write this annotation. If I write this annotation here, this will become direct response to the client. Okay, if I write this annotation here, what is the direct response to the client? Index is a direct response to the client. Are you clear? Now here the point is, when you write your method in the controller with response body, which is equal to REST controller. Okay, whenever you develop a application by using REST controller, you send the request, it will give the response. Controller plus response body is equal to REST controller. So if you write @controller plus @response body, which is equal to @REST controller. Earlier, people used to develop the REST controller using these two annotations. Now, you no need to write two annotations. This one annotation is equal to these two annotations. Controller means UI pages will be available. REST controller means direct response will be available. Can you send the response directly from the controller method. Yes, to send the response directly from the controller method, we will use response body annotation. Able to understand? Look at this method 3 and method 4, you will get the clarity. Method 3 and method 4. You see the difference, right? In the method 3, we are returning string, returning index. That will become view page. But in the method 4, we are returning string, but we have response body. What is the meaning of @response body? What is the meaning of @response body? View page, for that method, view page is not available. Whatever that method is returning, it will go as a direct response to the client. Good. So as of now, we have used some annotations, guys. First one, we used one annotation called @controller. In the WebMVC, we used one annotation called @controller. What is the purpose of @controller? What is the purpose of @controller? It is used to represent our Java class as a Spring controller. Why we need to represent our Java class as a Spring controller? To handle request and response. Then we have seen one annotation called request mapping. When you want to specify URL pattern at the class level, then you can go for @request mapping. Why to specify URL pattern at the class level? Already we are specifying at the method level. Na? Why to specify at the class level? To avoid the ambiguity problem. There is a chance multiple methods will have same URL pattern in the multiple classes. To avoid that ambiguity problem, we will specify URL pattern at the class level also. For that, we are going to use request mapping annotation. @controller, @request mapping. Then after we have seen @get mapping. What is the meaning of @get mapping? What is the meaning of @get mapping? @get mapping to map our controller method to HTTP GET request. So to map our controller method to HTTP GET request, we are using get mapping. Then what about @post mapping? What about @post mapping? If you want to if you want to map your method to post request, when you are doing the form submission, basically we will handle that by using a post request. So at that time we will map our method to post mapping. And we have seen @request param annotation. What is the meaning of @request param annotation? What is the purpose of @request param annotation? Request param annotation is used to capture request parameters, basically query parameters from the URL. And we have seen one annotation @path variable. What is path variable? To read the path parameters from the URL. Now we have seen one annotation called @response body. What is response body? Your controller method want to send direct response to the client, then you will go for response body. So as of now, we worked with these 7 annotations in the Spring Web MVC. @controller, @request mapping, @get mapping, @post mapping, @request param, path variable, response body, and few other annotations also available. Yeah, just read them. @controller, @request mapping, @get mapping, @post mapping, @request param, path variable, and response body. @controller, it is used to represent our Java class as a controller class. That controller will have the methods to handle the request and response. So you can map the URL pattern at the class level by using request mapping annotation. Why to map the URL pattern at the class level? Why to add that at the class level? To avoid ambiguity. Next one is get mapping. What is get mapping? To map our method to get request. What is post mapping? To map our method to post request. Request param, query parameters, path variable, path parameters. What is @response body? To send the direct response from our controller method. When the method is having @response body, controller plus response body, which is equal to REST controller. REST controller will not have any UI page. You send the request, it will give the response directly. Look at this class. Controller methods you can write in two ways, guys, right? One way, old approach, by taking model and view object as a return type. When I take model and view object as a return type, model will contain data in the key and value, view represents logical file name. But here, instead of taking the model and view, directly I'm taking as a string. That string will represent my view page. How to send the data to that view page? By using this model map. Model is available, which is a map. For that model, we are setting the data in the form of key and value pair. So you can send the data to the UI by using this model object or by using this model and view class also. Model is a interface. Model and view is a class. Yeah. Any questions? What is difference between positional parameters? Positional parameter nothing but path parameters. Whatever that we are seeing, right? So query parameters nothing but key value pair. It will be available in this format. Path parameters means, or positional parameters means this value. They can present anywhere in the URL. Query parameters will present only at the end of the URL. The positional parameters are also called as path parameters, can present anywhere in the URL. They will be represented in the key value format. These will be represented in the direct value. That is the difference. Right. Any other questions, anyone? Where? Here? Here? Yeah, that is what we done already. No, we need to use model and view, not model. Because if you take return type as a model, right, you cannot create the mod. You need to create the object and you need to return the object. This is a interface. You cannot create the object to return. Here I am taking model and view. It is a class. I'm creating the object. I'm returning that object. But if you take model as a return type, how do you create the object to return? You cannot do that. Okay. When you take model as a parameter, who will call our method? Dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet will create the object for the model IMPL class and it will pass that IMPL object as a parameter. Got it? Yeah. Request body we will come to know in the REST API, guys. So currently I have used only response body. I have not used request body annotation. Request body annotation is used to read the data from the request which is coming. JSON request or XML request will be there. In the REST API, we will understand what is request body annotation. Currently, we have seen response body annotation. Model is an interface which is used to store the data in the form of key and value and send that data to the UI page. You can send the data to the UI by using model object or by using model and view object also. In these two ways, you can develop your controller methods. Anything is fine. Any other questions, anyone? Context, where it is? Context load listener. Okay, generally, listener means when some operation happened, it will listen to that and it will take the action. In the Spring Boot, there are so many listener classes are available. So listeners will listen to the action, will listen to the operation, will take the action. Now, when I start my application, connection pool is created. One listener will listen to that application started and it will create the connection pool. One listener will listen to that application started, embedded container will be started. That part will happen in the background. So in the Spring Boot, all this auto configuration is happening through the listeners in the background. Those are predefined classes. Difference between context load listener is executing in the background for the auto configuration. Dispatcher servlet is processing your request. It will take the request, give to handler mapper, call the controller, talk to view resolver, take the request, give the response. That part will done by dispatcher servlet. Context loader listener will execute in the background to perform auto configuration for our application, like creating the connection pool, starting the Tomcat container, providing the security. These things will be taken care by those listeners in the boot. Those are predefined classes. That is in the Hibernate, sir. Second level cache, nothing but at the session factory level, cache will be created. So within the context, if you are executing the same query multiple times, it will give the data from the cache only. So in the Hibernate, there are two types of caches available. One is the first level cache, another one is second level cache. First level cache is at the session level. Second level cache is at the second session factory level. Okay, that means it will reduce number of DB calls for the same operation again and again. Okay, good. Now I want to give one task for you people. The task is, I have not explained the topic in the class, guys. I want you to do some analysis and implement that task. So the task is here. Yeah, let's take a simple one first. Just enter first number. Sum of two numbers only, but the twist is you need to implement this task by using Ajax. Enter first number, enter second number, and here submit button will be available. Then here result will be available. When you perform sum of these two numbers, it should display the result here. Okay, here normal easily you can do this application. But the thing is, the requirement is whenever you click on this submit button, page should not be reloaded. You should not send a normal request. You need to send a Ajax request to get the response. When you send a Ajax request without reloading the page, the response should be updated. Let us see here, as I have shown you in our website, right? When I select the drop down, the page is reloading or only price is changing. Page is not reloading, only price is changing. So I want you to implement in the same way. So whenever you submit the button, when you enter the first number and the second number, enter the first number, enter the second number, and you submit the page. Then without refreshing the page, without reloading the page, the result should be updated. For that you need to add Ajax call. For that, you need to add Ajax call in the project. So I have not explained what is Ajax. So we have 2 days of time. Monday is also holiday because of Christmas. So these 2 days of time, I want you people to analyze how to implement Ajax call in our Spring MVC. Okay, Ajax call should be there. When you implement that Ajax call, then we are going to send the asynchronous request to the application. Without reloading the page, our data will be loaded. Why we are giving this requirement is, tomorrow when we go for our project development, there we need to implement our Ajax calls. We need to implement Ajax calls in the coming application. Now you see here, now, why we need to learn this Ajax call is, 4 years back I uploaded one video in the YouTube. In this video, I have explained Ajax call functionality. Why we explain that Ajax call is, in the real time, requirement will be available like this. Country will be available, state will be available, city will be available. When I select the country, that country states should come to the state drop down without reloading the page. When the state is selected, that state cities should come to the city drop down without reloading the page. Now, so here I have implemented this Ajax functionality also. So if you go here and if you see the application which is executing, now you see this is called dependent drop down functionality. Now, country I have selected as India. When I select country as India, only India state should come. Page will not be reloaded. That is called Ajax call. It is very common requirement in every project. Dependent drop downs functionality. Now, when you have dependent drop downs functionality, when the country is selected, then state should be loaded. When the state is selected, city should be loaded. Okay, I think the demo is there. Yeah, now you see here, I am running this application here. Ajax code is available, but this project I implemented by using servlet, not the Spring controller. You need to change from the servlet to the Spring controller. Let's come to that view page. Yes, now see here, there are two countries available, guys. If you see in the drop down, I have taken two countries there, India. When I select India, then it should display only India states. If I select US, US states should come. Now you see here, when I select India, only India states are coming. When I select Andhra Pradesh, only Andhra Pradesh cities are coming here. Now change to US. Now when I change to US, US states are coming there. Page is reloading or page is not reloading? Page is not reloading, only content is modified. Page is not reloaded, only content is modified. How we are able to achieve that? We are able to achieve that by using Ajax call. Now, that is the reason I'm giving one simple task for you. You don't need to bother about that drop down state, city, country that we will discuss in the project classes. So here, I want you to develop this functionality. Enter first number, enter second number, click on submit button, send the Ajax request to the server, update the response without reloading the page. So this is the task for you. So you have 3 days of time. Today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Today class is done. Tomorrow Sunday, no class. Monday, Christmas holiday is there. We have the next class on the Tuesday. So before coming to the Tuesday session, I want you people to complete this project. You search in the Google, you do your analysis and try to implement this project. Spring MVC with the Ajax integration. If you search in the Google, n number of examples will be available, but you need to sit and you need to implement that project in your system. It should work as expected. Whenever I send a request, one page should be loaded with the two fields. When I enter the data and click on submit, without reloading the page, the response should be displayed here. Are you able to follow? Good. Any questions, anyone? modal attribute annotation. I have not explained that. We'll discuss in the coming class. What is modal attribute? Yeah. Online students, anybody having any questions? The requirement is clear for everyone. Offline people also. Please sit here and do the practice. You have to research and you have to develop. You have to learn on your own. Self-learning you have to improve. So now you got the chance to click and write the code on your own. Bring MVC with the Ajax integration. Sum of two numbers without reloading the web page. So whenever you click on submit button, it should go to the controller and you need to get the response from the controller. You update only response. Page should not be reloaded. Okay, that is the task. Fine. Online students, any question, anyone?
Sir, what is context listener doing in the web project?
It is loading the default settings that are required for web application, sir. Whenever IOC container started performing the component scanning, all that works will done by listeners.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Ashok.
Hello.
Yeah, Ashok Funny here. Ashok, can we actually mostly get mapping methods are using to retrieve, right? Can we send the to insert the data by using the get map, right? So
In the REST API, I will clarify that, sir. What is get, what is post, when to go for get, when to go for post. We will discuss in the REST API. You can do that in the get method also. You can write the logic to insert the record, but it's not recommended.
yes, but one of interviewer asking this question, same question
you can do
to me.
it, but it's not recommended.
Yeah, I said that we can do it.
Yes,
Tell me the difference. He said, okay, we'll discuss on the rest.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
In case of @request param, can we give the key value and the method parameter name different?
Yeah, you can do that.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
We are using model and model view for query
Sending
params
the
and
data
path,
from controller to UI.
query params and path parameters.
Correct.
And response body we are using for direct response to the UI, right?
Correct.
By using response body, we can use query params and path parameters.
Query parameters, path parameters, response body, there is no relation, right? Query parameters, path parameters to send the data from UI to controller. Response body to send the response to the client. So in this method, if you want to take input from the user, here you can write the query parameter for this method. Query parameter is for input. Response body is for output. There is no relation. You can use it.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So among the path parameter and the query parameter, which is the good practice to use? And can you please give us some?
It's not like a good practice, sir. When you want to return a unique results to the client, a single record unique result, then generally we will go for path variable. When you have multiple results to return to the client, then we will go for query parameter. In the REST API, you will know the complete difference of those two, when to go for which one. In the web applications, mostly we will use query parameters. In the REST APIs, we will use path parameters. Where to use path parameter in the REST API, we will come to know in the REST discussion. For time being, remember that query parameters will be used when the client is expecting more than one record as a response. Path parameter will be used to identify the unique records from our application.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Fine, guys. So I hope all of you clear with my requirement. Develop Spring Web MVC application using Ajax call. What is Ajax? That you need to learn for these 3 days of time. Take two numbers using form and update the response in same page without reloading the page. Take two numbers using form and update response in same page without reloading the page. Take two numbers using form, and when form is submitted, update response in same page without reloading the entire page. This is the task. You need to do some self-analysis in the internet, Google, YouTube, ChatGPT. There are multiple platforms available to learn. So you learn this Ajax concept and you implement that in the project. Okay. Thank you guys. We'll see you again on Tuesday.